Charlie's got a new jumper. I had a little bit of time on my hands. Hello friends, welcome to Soulful Spinning. This is my channel where I share my creative adventures with fiber, mainly knitting, spinning, weaving. I like to do a lot of fleece preparation, spindle spinning, all kinds of things with wool and other natural fibers. So this is my weekly vlog. I post most Sundays at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. We're daylight time right now, but GMT -6 I think is what it is, according to my Google clock. So yeah, I try to put out a video every Sunday morning. Last week I missed because I fell ill. I haven't been going out that much, but my husband and I were at a car dealership a couple weeks ago, and we purchased a new vehicle, family vehicle. And about 5 days later, I came down with a terrible cold. So I took a COVID test. It was negative, thank goodness. And yeah, 4 or 5 days later, I was right as rain, and so yeah, I'm back feeling good today. So I thought I would pop in here for a quick video, just to give you an update on some of my projects. My name is Lisa, and I can be found on Instagram as the Soulful Spinner, and you can also email me at soulfulspinning@gmail.com. If you don't have a YouTube account, you're not able to make comments or like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. It's not hard to do, but if you're not sure how to do that, I'll leave a link in the description on how to get a Gmail account so that you can like, subscribe, and make comments. Because every now and then I get email from someone saying I can't make comments because they don't have an account. So I will put that link below. And yeah, thank you for everybody who has subscribed and for coming back and continuing to support the channel. This is our channel mascot. This is Charlie. And one of my viewers, Timothy, said Charlie needs a new jumper. Charlie had a hand-spun jumper. It was kind of in natural colors. It was very woolly, you know. So, and now that it's spring and summer here in the Chicagoland area, he needed a different jumper. So I made this jumper. I'm going to show you up close because it's so flippin' cute. So this was a bear my son had when he was a boy. He's 20 now. It's a roll collar, raglan shaping. I just did knit front and back every other round. I think I cast on 44 stitches. I'll show you the yarn in a minute. I put two little buttons here at the collar, two flowers, and just did some garter stitch. Yeah, I think he looks quite cheerful in these bright colors. Yeah. I don't know. I find it very satisfying to make a teeny tiny sweater like this. So the yarn that I used was some leftover scraps I had from a blanket project I did some years ago when I was pretty new knitter. I've only been knitting since I was about 50. I think when I was 50 years old, I started getting into knitting. A friend taught me the basics, and from then on, it was a rabbit hole. And in my early days of knitting, I made this blanket. And it was earmarked for a nephew. But what happened is there's faults. There is significant faults in the knitting. I used what I was interpreting as the magic knot technique to tie in the new yarn, and most of the knots failed in the process. When it came off and it got washed, all of a sudden all the knots that I had made came undone. So obviously I did them wrong. Also, it's superwash wool. So here's his other little sweater I made. So the other little woolly sweater that's going to go in his winter box. But this is the yarn. It's Millamia Sweden Naturally Soft Merino. And it is it was a kit I bought. It was a pretty new knitter. This was about 10 or 11 years ago. And they're all these bright primary colors. I didn't use the green, but I used the primary red, the yellow, and the blue. I've been going through my stash. I'm trying to get organized. Famous last words. I'm trying to go through some of my things, and I found this blanket. It's basically just a color block blanket. But I did repair the holes that were created from the faulty knots. There weren't that many. I think there were 3 knots that I used, and luckily I didn't do it throughout the whole project. But there was enough problems with the blanket that I was worried when they gave it to the baby and they threw it in the washing machine and the dryer, it would fall to pieces. So I have kept this in my stash. So I think this is going to be Charlie's blanket. He'll be happy. So maybe someday, if I have grandchildren, maybe I'll just stash this away for him. Yeah, it's wonderfully soft, and yeah. I find myself in this predicament of having not enough time and too much time on my hands. As many of you know, I'm a retired school teacher. I retired just a year ago, and I'm sorry to say, I just emptied out the 2 banker boxes that I took home from school last year. Finally got rid of them. My husband kept saying, "Are you going to do anything with these boxes?" So I went in the boxes and I sorted all the things I wanted to keep and disposed of the things I didn't. And yeah, it felt really good. But I don't know, it was so final, my life as a teacher and what that entailed. It's really over. But so yes, I'm retired and I have so many things I want to do and want to learn. And sometimes I feel pulled in a lot of different directions, and then I sort of feel paralyzed, because I don't know where to go, what to work on next or whatever. But anywho, I'll just edit all that stuff out. So isn't that cute and cheerful? Yeah, it just made me happy. Well, I think I'm going to put this over here. I'm not going to put it by the flowers. So I was out in the garden today, and I picked these peonies from our bushes. They're very, very fragrant, very beautiful. I just love this time of year. So that was one little mini project that I completed. Maybe I should put him up here, shouldn't I? No, don't knock over the flowers, okay? Here we go. There he goes. I'm a big kid. So, what else I've been working on? I have 2 finished weaving projects. I'll show you this one. I showed this last time I recorded, but it wasn't finished, it wasn't washed, and the fringe wasn't completed. But this shawl that I made is finally done. And many of you have seen this already. If you've watched other episodes, I did used a fringe twister for the ends. I washed it. I washed it in the washing machine. I used a delicate cycle. I have a washing machine that's doesn't have an agitator, and I put it on the delicate cycle on cool, and then I took it out, and then I just laid it out to dry. I think it's very beautiful. It's very my microphone is gonna. very soft. It's made out of Barocco sesame was the warp, and baby alpaca was the weft. And yeah, it was a long time project, but I finally got back into weaving and completed it. So it's about 72 inches long, and I think it's very elegant, very pretty. I think that I really like weaving with alpaca. It gives such a nice drape and soft feeling to the project. So yes, I thought you'd be interested in seeing that finished object. And then this other, I'll call it a piece of fabric, I wove on my new, I bought a 12-inch Ashford Knitter's loom, and I pulled out a couple of skeins of superwash wool and mixed it with some hand spun and just started weaving. I just warped it and just started weaving just to get to know the new loom. If you've watched the last episode, you saw me working on this. And it's kind of a ridiculous piece of fabric. I'll show it to you. But let's take this off because it's quite warm. So here is my fabric. Now you can see this was the warp. The warp was the Cascade Superwash paint and some super solid. And then I went ahead and I was having fun with my art yarn. So, and then I did some plain weaving here with just yellow. And then this is my favorite section here. I took some hand spun from a pulled top that I made on my hackle. And I love this part of the weaving. It turned out really pretty. And if you can see all the little sari silk flecks that I put in the bat, or the combs. So I really love this section. It's almost like a swatch project. And some more yellow. Then I threw in a couple more stripes of the Goofy art yarn. I haven't trimmed off any of my ends yet because I still have to finish. Here's some more. Now I picked, this was some blue yarn I pulled out. Here's right here. So I just used some blue and white Cascade. And that's this little section here, which also really pretty. And then I just was playing with the stripes. And then I did some more of my hand spun there. Yeah, so it's this huge piece of fabric. It's very stiff feeling. I did it on the dent that came with the loom. I think it's 7.5. It's a very sturdy fabric, woolly feeling. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to cut it up and experiment. Since it's, I don't know, I don't want to call it a junk piece, but it was just sort of like yarn I really wasn't too attached to. I just wanted to weave. What I thought I would do is make a few home deck crafting things. So I brainstormed some things that I could make with fabric, and I thought I could make a pillow. I have some wool stuffing upstairs. I thought I could, maybe make just a pillow to throw on my sofa. A pin cushion. I don't know how that would work. I would have to I'm definitely going to have to stabilize the fabric, or I have some cotton fusible interface. It's supposed to come today in the post. I was thinking of making a pin cushion, or a needle and crochet hook roll. So maybe one of those rolls you put your crochet hooks in. Paintbrush roll. I have some paintbrushes. I thought maybe too I could make a small little case for scissors, a spindle bag, a mug rug, or I was thinking of cutting it into maybe cutting a heart in the, maybe zigzagging around the heart edge so it doesn't come unraveled, and sewing it onto a jean jacket or something like that. So I was thinking of just, having fun with this. Even if you just, you cut a certain amount here and just sewed along the edge, turned it inside out and made a little handle. So I'm just going to have fun with cutting this up and seeing what I can come up with. If you have any other ideas on what I might do with this fabric, it's not a scarf for sure. That's definitely not something that I would wear, like a scarf. It would just be ridiculous, to wear as a scarf, or I know I could do a turban, or like a turban. What do you think? Actually, I could, I'm not I'm pretty conservative, and I don't like drawing attention to myself in public. So, yeah, no, I don't think I would wear this thing, but yeah, I came off the Loom and I was like, what am I going to do with it? Which speaks to a larger issue of, I was thinking about this the other day. Why is it we make what we make, and for what purpose are we making things? So I think I want to try to be a little bit more intentional with what I make. Rather, of course, doing it for just the process is fun too. But so yeah, if you have any ideas on what I might do with this fabric, let me know. But it was loads of fun to weave. All right, now that I've messed up my hair completely. Oh boy. So yeah, so a couple of weaving things I finished. Have made considerable progress on my arboreal jumper by Jennifer Steingass. It's a pullover, and I will show you progress on this. Last time I recorded, I had just finished the yoke, and now I have completed all the short rows, and I just completed there's some decreases that she has you do right here. I'm following the pattern pretty much to the letter. So there's these decreases you do here at the waist, and then you knit 7.5 or 8 inches from the armpit, and then you do increases for the hip shaping. I tried it on, and it does fit me. I'm knitting the size 4 on the recommended needle size of US 6, which is a 4mm. And yeah, it's arboreal. Arboreal has to do with forests or trees. So there's the leaf motif there. I'll show it to you close. Yeah, it's all hand spun. This is I pulled out a couple of the locks from the fleece that I processed for this project. This is it's called California Variegated Mutant, or CVM. So this is the body, and then a gray, very soft gray is the yoke color. So that was the wool that I drum carded and spun on my Lendrum double treadle. I have another hank here that still needs to be wound. It's a beautiful chocolate brown color. I did make a swatch cap before I started the project. This is a hat that I made with the same pattern. And it's been so cool lately that I actually wore this on a walk last night, because it was like 50 degrees yesterday here in Chicago. So it's a little beanie. But what I think this is a great idea if you're thinking of making a sweater, is make a hat out of the yarn, because you can see this has been tossed in my pocket, thrown in my purse. It's been kind of manhandled, like roughly handled, and it's holding up really, really, really well. It's not pilling or anything. So I'm hoping that bodes well for the sweater once it's completed. And I found this basket. I was cleaning off my shelves. I've got some shelves here I'm in the family room of my tri-level house that I'm attempting to organize in some cohesive fashion. And I found this beautiful basket. It's one of these baskets that doesn't, there's no pokey bits, so it's really perfect for your yarn. And as I knit, the ball kind of, whoops, whoopsie daisy, it kind of rotates around in the basket. So yeah, I'm plugging away at that. Now it's just knit, knit, knit. Really well written pattern. Jennifer Steingass writes a beautiful pattern. And I thought the short rows were very interesting. I always thought that the short rows would only be a very short distance along the back, but she has them quite spread out, going all the way into the shoulders. So I'm hoping that it's a good fit. And, you know, if it is, I'm certainly going to make, I think I have a couple other of her patterns in my Ravelry library. And I think I'm going to make more. It won't be my first. But I'm really in need of a cardigan. I'm in need of a nice woolly cardigan with pockets and a shawl collar. So that's what I'm thinking. I mean, it's something I could really, would wear a lot and I could really use. So yeah, keeping in that, you know, make stuff that you're actually going to wear and you could actually use. All right, as usual, I didn't think I had anything to talk about today. All right, so what else has been going on? I've been processing a Corriedale fleece that I showed a couple weeks ago, maybe not a month ago. And this is a white, I'll show you my progress on this. It's a white, whoopsie, my microphone just came out of my pocket. Sorry. So I have been busy combing these beautiful white, bright white clouds of Corriedale wool. I got the wool from Elizabeth Hubbard from Hubbard Handspun. I have one bobbin already spun up. I don't want to fill up the whole bobbin because I have to ply still. So I figured 2 of these because I'm doing this all on my Ashford e-spinner. Here's my sample. I'm spinning it into a bulky. I'm aiming for singles that are around 12 wraps per inch. And so the finished two ply should be about 7 or 8 wraps per inch. So it's going to be a bulky yarn. This is a little lock here. It's actually, this is probably it's hard to say, but this is the prettiest fleece I've ever worked with. It's pristine, it's very clean. It washed up beautifully. I have quite a lot of it still that needs to be scoured. I did do some scouring this week. I have a big, I have a couple pounds of this, I think it was a 6 or 7 pound fleece. I have 2 pounds of it scoured so far. So I'm just grabbing pound quantities and washing them small batch at a time, which for me is just easier for me to handle the water and the wringing out and everything. When I do too much wool, it's kind of cumbersome and heavy. So my plan here is to spin all this up into about 6 ounces of wool and just do a sample project. I'm going to make a pair of mittens. I am going to dye the yarn after it's completed, and I'm going to knit myself a pair of bulky mittens with cable. And if it turns out pretty well, I'm going to do more, and I think that this would make a beautiful cardigan wool. So, but I think I'm just going to do a small project just to see how the yarn turns out and how my dyeing goes. I want to dye it and see how it dyes up. But I'm thinking I want to make a nice bulky cardigan. So it's kind of my long-term dream for this fleece. It's such a beautiful fleece. There has to be a sweater or cardigan that comes out of this fleece at least one, right? So yeah, I've just come off a bad cold. I fell ill last week. Wasn't able to film my usual podcast. But I'm out here today on a beautiful sunny day, and I'm really looking forward to enjoying some nice warm weather here. And there's our girl. Peach is as always my constant companion as usual. So I have this fleece from Eureka Farm. I think her name is Dee. Yeah, she's in Maryland, and she raises beautiful flock of Shetland sheep. And this is Colin's fleece from 2023. And he's a wether. So a wether is basically a castrated male. And he's kept only for his beautiful, beautiful wool. When you buy a fleece from Eureka Farm, she will send you, she really appreciated this. She sent me a little baggie that had combed locks. So these are two of the combed locks that she sent me, that she had processed. And then in the description on Etsy, she has a very detailed description of the locks and what they look like dirty, what they look like clean. So here, Colin 23, dirty tips, clean locks. And so she had this in the display, just so you know exactly what you're getting. And then she sends the clean. And this is some of the yarn that I spun from the combed top that she hand combed herself, and I spindle spun this. And so this is what the yarn's going to look like. So this is from her combed top. So what else has been going on this week? Other than recovering from my virus, a couple of new things came my way since we last spoke. I have a friend, Doro, who's always, she's a terrible enabler. And she says, you know, you need a boat shuttle. And I said, oh, I do? So I bought a boat shuttle from Ashford. I bought this boat shuttle. I was watching Kelly Casanova, who's got a wonderful channel here on YouTube on weaving. I highly recommend you go check Kelly out. She's a wealth of information, a lovely woman, and a terrific teacher. But she said that this shuttle is a good one for the rigid heddle because it's not too deep. So with a rigid heddle loom, you have a fairly narrow shed, which is the distance between the two threads as they rise up and down. So I'm anxious to try this out. I have a new project that's going to come in the mail. I bought some yarn from Gist Yarn, and it's supposed to come today, and if it comes today, I will insert some video here of the yarn. It's a silk yarn, and it comes with a pattern. It's a simple plaid scarf, and I thought I've never woven with silk before. And I thought it would be a good project for me, simple project. I'm going to warp it up on my shocked flip loom over there. I think it requires like 18 inches across, and that's 25 inches. I love wearing scarves and shawls in all year round pretty much, and so yeah, I'm really excited. The colors are two shades of pink. One is like a dark, almost magenta color, and then a lighter pink, and then I picked a chartreuse for the contrast color. So I thought that would be a lot of fun. I'm really excited about getting that warped up. What else? From my bookshelf, well, I was looking at patterns for hand-woven bags, and I found this book. Actually, it was on my bookshelf. I saw it on Amazon. I'm like, I think I have that book. It's called Simple Bags. Simple Bags, Japanese style, 20 designs to sew. And it's got some just real simple projects in here. This one on the cover I thought would be really lovely with hand-woven fabrics. You know, use hand-woven here with a coordinating color. And it has just a lot of really simple patterns in here. This is an embroidery notions bag. It opens up, you see, like this. Japanese designer Akayo Kajiwara, I'm sure I've said that wrong, offers 22 designs for simple handbags, shoulder bags, and cases that combine traditional Japanese motifs with a clean, modern look. Composed mostly out of simple rectangles and squares, these stylish bags are easy and quick to make and can be customized for any size and purpose. Includes patterns and step-by-step instructions for traditional folded and knotted bags, a tea ceremony caddy, and a bento bag, as well as a more modern laptop bag and handbags in the same simple Japanese-inspired style. So it's well laid out. It has all the patterns in the front. I thought this would be good to get me back into sewing. I'm not an experienced sewist. I've only made a couple of quilts and an apron. This is what I was thinking of doing with my hand woven, is making some sort of etui or needle case. There's a roll there. Really simple, simple designs. Here's just a bag, simple bag, a bottle carrier. And then she's got patterns for these types of bags where they just knot. There's a bag made out of woven strips. I thought this would be a nice thing to make with hand-woven fabric. It's a case for paintbrushes. And then here's this sashiko type project here. Yeah. You know, nesting bags. Really simple. Well, simple. Simple is relative, isn't it? I have my ability to see things in 3 dimensions has not been developed very well, but yeah, I thought this would be a nice, some nice little projects I can do when I get my sewing machine back. I have a Jonny 6600 memory craft machine. I brought it in for servicing because it had been many years since I sewn on it. And the guy's really backed up. He said it would be several weeks before I got it back. And it's a nice machine because it has a built-in walking foot, which helps feed through thicker layers of fabric. And I thought that would be perfect for multiple layers of hand-woven, you know, hand-woven with a lining, etc. So I'm hoping I get that back this week or next. I do have a smaller portable machine that I might pull out and just have fun with and see what I can do. Yeah. And then another book came to me, new to me this week, and it's this book right here, How to Sew Clothes. It's a new publication. It's by Amelia Greenhall and Amy Boardman, and it's how to sew clothes, learn with intuitive, super hackable patterns. And it's real basic, and it's written in a very, you know, here I'm going to hold your hand and teach you how to sew a straight stitch, you know, kind of way. And again, lovely. I love when books do this. They have all the projects pictures at the beginning, sort of an index of what you can find in the book. So the book basically goes through how to make a top from a simple box top, but then they have a ruffle to like a cardigan coat. And then this is the section I was particularly interested in on making bags and how to sew in a zipper, which I've never done. And so she's got some simple pouches in here. And again, I really want to use hand-woven fabric in hand-sewn projects. I think that would be just super fun. So yeah, so no pants in here, very, very basic. So for most of you that follow me here, you probably have way more experience sewing, but I'm having fun reading this, and I really want to start, you know, maybe I'll make some curtains. I have some windows in the house that just have regular shades, and I should make some curtains. And, you know, just make a simple blouses and so forth. What I'm wearing today is a linen top that I ordered from on Etsy. I think it's called Linen Cloud on Etsy. There are many makers on Etsy that make clothes out of Lithuanian linen, and that's where this came from. I bought this one, and I bought 2 others. Do you want to see them? I'll go get them real quick. They're just out of the wash, so this one's a little wrinkly. Linen Cloud. Beautifully made. Look at the seams. There's a seam down the back. She has sizes, you know, and a sizing chart, But she also asks you for your specific measurements. You know, your measurements from here to here, your bust, your waist, your hips, and they basically customize the pieces. And I bought this one. Look at this. I'm trying to go out of my color zone. I wear a lot of colors like this, like raspberry pink colors. Of course, I bought a raspberry one. I had to. And then this one is a moss green, which I think is really pretty. I just, you know, I would love to be able to sew something like this for myself, but maybe someday. Very reasonably priced. I think she had a sale. And yeah, beautifully finished. Everything serged and you know, really, really well made. This one is called Amber. Yeah, I love, love, love linen. As a matter of fact, I want to make a quilt for my bed, and I want to use linen for the backing. It's probably a mistake, but yeah, I think she sells, you can buy fabric too. And I think it took about maybe a month between the time I ordered it and the time I got it. It was free shipping, and you know, I think reasonably priced for basically not bespoke garment, but you know, something they're making just for you, customized to your measurements. All right, so as usual, I thought I didn't have anything to talk about, and I had plenty to talk about. So yes, more weaving in the future. I pulled out all of my cotton yarns. I have a bunch of cotton yarns, and it's sort of a DK weight. And I think next up on my small loom here is going to be either some like placemats or some dish towels, and see how it is weaving with cotton. I will take you along with me as I work on these projects. I hope this episode finds you well. I hope you're doing well. You're healthy, as healthy as you can possibly be. I hope you have a nice Sunday afternoon. And wherever you are and whenever you see this, I hope you're well, and I thank you very much for spending time with me today. We'll see you next week, friends. Take care, everybody. Bye for now. What are you doing?
See, she knows you got the camera on, so she got it.
You're going to strike a pose.
Did that feel good?
She's
Did that good scratch?